How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Hi, welcome to Last Man on Earth. My name is Lex Durgan, as always, I'm flanked by Matt Ronson. Much like you, when I read in the newspaper that a 37-year-old West Hollywood man had been arrested for sexually assaulting his dog in photos on social media, I told the kids here they wouldn't be seeing Uncle Matt again for a while. Turns out we all jumped to conclusions. Matt remains above the law. How about that vegan died, huh?
Well, I mean, I didn't think about it till now, but what if the dog was into it? Is that a crime?
How come it's always a pit bull that gets fucked on social media? It's always a pit bull for some reason.
Is it?
Yeah, it's always it's a rescue. They're always rescue dogs.
I think we look at different websites.
Nobody fucks a purebred.
I'm more of a New York Times guy.
They're all rescue guys. That's the guy from.
Well, that's the last dog I'd want to fuck because they're dangerous.
Yeah,
or I'd like to fuck a passive.
Or
dog.
maybe they make you do it. I don't know. They're pretty brutal. But did you saw the Dr. Phil clip of that guy?
I did.
Have you seen that guy dancing in his underwear in West Hollywood?
I've not seen him around, although he looks like a pretty typical character that you might see at Mickey's or Revolver.
He was your first choice for roommates, right? No, but actually, if you notice, I don't know if you saw the comments in the story about this guy in West Hollywood who was banging his dog on social media. He's a mentally disturbed guy, obviously, but he dances in his underwear in West Hollywood, and he was on Dr. Phil. Where Dr. Phil just takes insane people, then pretends that they're just quirky.
Yeah.
And then he treats them as if they're quirky, and then he lectures them about.
He acts very smug and condescending, which is like anyone in this room could act superior to a mentally ill, quasi-homeless person.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I really got my shit together. I'm better than this fucking methed out. What? You know what? Dr. Phil got in trouble because he would. I don't know if you remember this story, but they'd have people come on that had substance issues and whatnot, and they got caught because they were stocking the room with bottles of fucking hard liquor.
Oh, really?
To get them fucked up.
Nice.
So Dr. Phil could raise an eyebrow at him.
He's a weird fucking dude. Someday they're gonna find all this shit in his closet.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be fucking amazing. And then he's gonna interview himself on Dr. Phil and get himself right. So
he's definitely a rubber suit, dildo up the ass candidate.
Yeah, I fucking blame
Find him in a Motel 6. Why is it always a shitty motel? Why not check into a Sheraton? Respect
I told you a
yourself.
story about my cousin who's a funeral director. What he does, he goes to the scenes of where people have died, usually old Jewish men, and I think it's a specialty. And at least 10% of the time, they're found in motels with cock rings and shit like that. These are old 70-year-old married guys. And he removes all the sex toys and cleans up the mess before the coroner arrives.
He's doing the Lord's work.
Yes, he is. So that's his service. That's his service to the community is to clean up all 10% of the dudes who die just die with fucking cock rings and dildos.
If anything happens to me, I'm gonna need someone to delete my browsing history.
Yes.
Just
when someone died, they got the Angels pitcher last month died in the motel. I mean,
he was in a motel too.
Yeah, he was in a motel also.
Can you not do drugs in a fucking Weston? What is happening?
Not if you're doing fucking fentanyl. I don't think smoking fentanyl. But you always wait. They always say we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. And you just wait for the horrible story that comes out 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
Why don't they just fucking prep people by saying we know it's going to be something fucking horrible. We don't know what yet, but obviously it's either drugs or prostitution. What else could it fucking be?
Yeah, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm pretty sure 35-year-olds don't just peacefully expire.
No.
Without some outside factors.
Does not have in a fucking cheap motel in a drug party town. This week's show is sponsored by Bill Belichick, pretending that Antonio Brown wasn't a rapist for an entire week so he could use them to win the Patriots opening week game. There's something to be said for coaches who actually believe in the winning isn't everything, it's the only thing line. Congratulations, Bill. You may now kiss your daughter on the lips.
Ew. Didn't see that coming. I don't think Brown's a rapist. Anytime a
Yes,
guy's
he's a fucking
accused of
rapist.
rape,
Yes.
and the chick continues to hang out with him and go to his house alone. If I got raped by someone,
Well, that's Rose McGowan, right?
yes, well, that's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
they're like, "Hey, I know I raped you last Saturday, but you want to come by for dinner?" I'd be like, "No."
I'd be like, what do you have? What are you having? Like, I don't know. Is it sushi? I love sushi. I'd go with a rapist as sushi. Well, look, the guy is like, all the stories that come out now since then, maybe he's not a rapist. He is fucking trouble.
Yeah, he's a psychopath.
Huge fucking psychopath trouble. Belichick doesn't give a shit, which I kind of admire about him.
Yeah.
They took, was it Gordon last year? They take anybody with problems as long as they win. And the best part about them taking Antonio Brown for that first week's game, knowing that he was released from the Raiders for all his problems and sort of knowing about the rape, was that they just featured him in the game. They threw to him in the first pass. They like featured him heavily in the game. Not like we're going to hide this troubled kid.
No.
It's like, fuck, he's going to get open, man.
Like, he's our new guy.
He's our new guy. Like, if we get 3 touchdowns before the police come, it's like we're going for it.
What a weirdo. I mean, how do you even differentiate now? Like, if a football player's a psychopath like he is, you want to be like, oh, he probably has, CTE, he probably has brain damage. But, like, what if he's just an asshole? How do you separate the two?
I'd say wide receivers are just assholes if they're assholes. Like a linebacker's been hitting the head a lot, maybe. I don't know.
He's definitely a weird, because he was texting the girl that he hooked up with, and apparently he jizzed on her back.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, that happens. I get that. But then he was texting her. He's like, yeah, you just mad because I jizzed on your back. It's like, how about you just don't repeat that? How about we, leave that unspoken?
Well, there was that
I don't
tape
know
where-
what happened.
The tape where he farted, like during with his lawyer and stuff like that.
Wait, what?
He's in trouble. He was like farting, like in his lawyer. They was recording in his lawyer's office, and he was just farting over and over again, like
That's just a dick move.
intentionally. I think he's just like 5 years old, and he's just like fucking mentally unstable. He's a great receiver.
His
by the
dad
way.
was in the NFL.
Was he really?
No, well, his dad was an elite. He was either in the NFL or he's an Olympian. No, he's in the NFL. His dad was. He grew up in Florida, dude. There's something. I'm telling you, man. There's something going on. Have you ever met a person from Florida, but more specifically Miami, that isn't kind of retarded?
No, Florida's like, especially South Florida. I mean, well, the upper panhandle's where all the fucking white radical Christians live and take down the strip bars. But yeah, the south of Florida is like, it could be like Venezuela, basically. It's fucking third
I don't
world.
even think
like,
they have schools. I mean, I think it's
No.
socially acceptable to drop out of junior high school.
yeah, that's where Epstein had those girls like working the high school crowds for him, like hiring high school girls to solicit other high school girls quite easily to basically come give him rub downs at his place when they're like 15 and 16 years old.
Yeah.
That's what it's just like. What was that movie, Bully, or what's his Harmony Korine, whatever those movies? Like where the 13 and 14-year-olds are all fucking just fucked up adolescents having sex and drugs and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
Always set in Florida.
Like the Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah, it's always set in Florida. The kids are never in school. They're always like drinking and doing like fucking coke crack when they're like 14 and just living outside trailers. It actually sounds like a great childhood, by the way.
I had a girlfriend from Florida. God damn, she was stupid, but really hot.
Yes.
And she complained to me. This should have been a red flag. I'm ashamed to say I continued fucking her. She was complaining that her dad owned a bar and that they were being forced to serve black people.
Yeah.
That was her complaint.
Yeah. You shouldn't be forced.
And
You
she's
should be
like-
voluntary.
Well, that's what I said. And she was like, no, you don't understand. He could like lose money because the other white people don't want to go now. And I'm like,
Oh, Florida's
this
definitely
was like 5 years ago.
yes.
What the fuck is going on?
Unless it was Antonio Brown, then they would fucking serve him. I like my favorite is University of Miami. Ultimate Florida thing is University of Miami, which is all just like speaking for myself, all like rich white Jews, and then like 50 huge black dudes from the fucking like the worst part of town playing football.
Yeah.
That's it, and they give each other gold chains for turnovers. Like
I can
massive
tell-
gold chains.
I can tell just facially, if you show me a mugshot of someone, I can tell you with 90% accuracy if they're European, if they got that Polish sort of, Eastern European look.
Yeah.
I can spot that right away. And if someone's from the deep South, Florida, Mississippi, I can tell by how far apart their eyes are. I can just
Really?
tell by a lot of different factors.
You're talking about black and white.
Black and white.
Yeah,
The black guys are enormous.
you don't hear a lot of Nobel Prizes coming out of like the South Florida.
No.
There's not a lot of great cancer research. There's like a lot of, I think they even do the rocket research like in California, then take it to Florida, launch it. because no one in Florida could actually figure out rocket science. So there's nothing going on there. Matt, I want to do a special shout out today from Austin from Richmond. Right? Austin, not Austin, Richmond. Austin from Richmond, one of our favorite fans and audience of Last Man on Earth. I think we're down to 4 people, so we really got to treat them nicely. I think you got a fur coat or something like that.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Matt will show up at your door. He's visiting. You're doing a tour like Mark Zuckerberg, visiting Facebook users. You're going to go visit Last Man on Earth users. I really think there's 4, so just a few stops. Don't forget to become a patron of the show on patreon.com/Last Man on Earth. Thanks to all of your patrons. Got this shit now before it disappears. I think it's down to like us and just white supremacists now on that platform. And we're not doing well among the white supremacists. We got to work a little harder on that. There's good money there. If you wish to contact the show, hit us up on Twitter at Last Man Podcast or on Facebook, also Last Man Podcast. All right, on to the show. Matt, I know you shed a tear for Ed Buck when he was finally arrested in West Hollywood. Speaking of like guys in West Hollywood that are kind of sexually fetish nuts, that guy was killing. Ed Buck was like they always call him the Democratic donor. I don't know what that means exactly.
I don't know what it means either.
Well, it just means he donates.
Rich.
He's rich and he donated to the local. I mean, everyone's a Democrat in West Hollywood, so if he donated to like 4 of the 5 city council people, to Newsom, to Garcetti, whatever. I mean, I suppose if he lived in a Republican state, he'd be a Republican donor. Because basically he was just trying to buy people off.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he's a Democratic donor so much as he was just fucking buying local politicians off who all happen to be Democrats.
He lives his weird fuck pad serial killer den
Yes.
is a stone's throw. It's a block from my house. It's 1 street over.
Oh, I'm not surprised by the neighborhood you live in. So Ed Buck was a weird dude who hasn't, as far as I can tell, hasn't worked in 20 years, made millions on some tech thing in the late 80s.
Yeah, he sold some kind of website, Zappos or something along
Yeah,
those
some
lines.
data, some customer acquisition, data acquisition thing, made millions, and basically spent the last 20 years like injecting young black prostitutes with meth.
He has a fetish, which is a very weird fetish, which verges on manslaughter.
Yes.
He likes to inject, like you said, gay. Well, I don't know. That's just who's probably willing to do this. He likes to watch people overdose.
Yeah,
How fucking weird is that?
he injects them to the point that they pass out, and then he does the jizz in the back thing like you like so much. And but like it's not he doesn't get off apparently. First of all, they're all black, which is obviously there's a problem right off the bat.
Yeah.
If you're a rich white dude and you get off on like trying to almost kill like black guys, that doesn't look good.
I agree, it's a problem. Although, what percentage of gay prostitutes are black guys?
I assume that's a rhetorical question for yourself. I don't know. I mean,
No, it's a bad look, though.
It's 100.
It's pretty nasty.
His victims have all been black, so clearly he gets off on the black thing as well. And also, like you said, maybe that's the people who are willing to take $200 to be injected with a lethal amount of meth in his living room and then have jizz on their back. 2 of them died. 2 of them died like in the last 2 or 3 years, and they had protest. Like, do you see the protests outside his apartment?
I didn't physically see it, but yeah.
I mean, people are actually like the families of the victims of these guys who basically got lethally injected and then died because lethal injection implies you die from the meth overdose as he's like fucking stroking one out like on their backs.
I mean, my comment to the families would be, where were you when your beloved child decided to go into gay porn?
Yeah. Well, yes, I mean, they didn't make great life choices, and obviously they maybe don't come from great families, but you still don't want to see your kid like die that way.
I would say that's really low on the list of. It's not what I would want for my unborn child. But the latest guy. So what happened is he was doing the same shit, and the guy OD'd, but he essentially ran away like a Silence of the Lambs type of thing.
Yeah, I imagine like with his pants down around his ankles, like fucking half, like just trying to get down the staircase, like rolling down the staircase, running away from like this like 140-pound like old white dude. It's fucking scary as shit.
And I know they showed his when he was getting arrested, because I'm kind of fascinated by people that do meth because they're somewhat functional, but then they showed usually they show his headshot.
Yeah,
and
the teeth, right?
He's missing a bunch of teeth.
Yeah,
so he must do a lot of meth.
The teeth.
I don't know how much meth you have to do to lose a tooth, but it's gonna be a lot.
I've met like ex-meth addicts, like I mean, talking like 15, 20 years ago now, They haven't done it for 15 years, and they still have that look. I mean, you just can't get rid of it. The eyes are just fucking sunken, and the teeth are just rotten.
Yeah.
So they get sometimes they get the new fake teeth, so they look like Whitney Houston, but they have the sunken eyes.
Dude, I yelled at these two meth addicts. I was at the Rite Aid by my house, and I was with this girl. Things were going well. I say, why don't we go by the Rite Aid? We'll grab a bottle of tequila, have a couple margaritas. I think we all know where this is going.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 10 minutes early. It's 1:50. And there's these two, guy and a girl, these meth addicts. They have the look like you're talking about. And they're returning items. As, of course, that's what they're doing.
Yes.
So they're returning all these items that they'd obviously stolen. And they were fucking cock blocking. They were fucking my shit up because there was only one checker. So I'm like, look, I was essentially yelling right at them. I was like, we all know what you're doing. You're committing a crime. You're fraudulently returning things. And the black security lady was like, mm-hmm. Anyway, I was just yelling at him, and I didn't get the booze and still had sex with the girl.
So is that story that Matt yells at meth addicts?
Yeah.
Nice.
I wouldn't recommend it. Got off fine in this case, but probably not a great idea.
When I was I worked at Macy's in high school. One of my fifth favorite high school job. And they had this policy. People would take shit, like the drug addicts would come in or whatever and come in and take shit right off the shelf and return it to the register. Like they just grab shit and return it, and they would take returns without receipt. And then of course the security guards would follow them out. They'd arrest them later on or some shit like that. But the 17-year-old like me wasn't allowed to do anything, so they just told me to process shit. Mm-hmm. So these fucking I don't know what drugs they were on back then. The crack people would just come in grab fucking comforters off the wall, and 10 feet away from me and say, I bought this last week. I need to return it. And fucking all day long I'd be processing returns.
That happened a lot?
A lot. And then they'd go out the door and the guy would arrest them and shit like that. I'm like, come on, can we just fucking stop this, dude?
Didn't you almost want to tell him no just to spare him the...
No, I wanted to tell him, just go buy something from another department, man. Don't do it in front of me. They grab it right off the shelf. I'm like, I just fucking stocked that, dude. Because fucking shit, man. That's how you earn your $4.50 an hour, man. But so here's a question about Ed Buck. How much do you think that he actually, by making these political payments and stuff like that. So two guys died within the last 2 years, and they never arrested him. They kind of said, he said, people came over willingly to my place. They did drugs on their own. He had him sign some fucking sort of affidavit waiver release.
Really?
Yes.
If I ever go to someone's house and they ask me to sign a waiver, I'm walking.
You know who did that? Charlie Sheen did that. With the people he gave AIDS to, right? He had him sign the thing saying you may get basically I may fuck you with my AIDS dick unprotected and you can't sue me. So also you can't film here or I'll fucking sue you, some shit like that. But he had everyone sign waivers, which of course. So there's your example of people who ask you to sign waivers when you come to their parties.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber did it too, actually, for filming wise. That I could sue your ass.
Well, I get don't air my dirty laundry, but if it's
for sex, if it's for drugs,
it's I'm doing something illegal, so I need you to sign off.
But you can't sign a contract away your criminal rights, right? So you would
a guy got prosecuted because he went on Craigslist and he said, I want to cut someone's dick off and murder him, and some guy was like, cool, I'll do that. Yes. And then they went on trial. And it was no, that's not okay. You're still, just because the guy agreed to it, you're still a fucking criminal.
Is that like Craigslist Berlin? Because I feel like the stories always take place in Germany, where some guy agrees to be cannibalized and eaten for some sexual fetish.
Yeah, there's a chef in Japan that cooked his own dick and fed it knowingly to a dinner party. That's Japan, though.
Yeah, I got to learn those fucking symbols on the menu. It looks like severed penis. So did Ed Buck, do you think he got special treatment? He clearly got, is it white privilege? Is it fucking political donation privilege? Is it gay West Hollywood, I donated to fucking all these people privilege?
I think it's status privilege to a degree. I heard I don't know much about it, but I heard it's possible they were building a case. They didn't want to bring him in on something really minor.
Like two dead black guys he injected with meth and then fucking spooged on in his apartment?
Yeah, but couldn't you say if he had a defense lawyer, who I'm sure is pretty good, that they just overdosed? And
that's what he said. But there's they never really got him. The city never got him. They charged him on just fucking having drugs in his house, running a drug house or whatever. But the feds came in with the charges of knowingly injecting somebody with a narcotic without a license or whatever the fuck it was.
How could it be proven, not with the most recent guy that got away, but how could it be proven that he injected the guys as opposed to them doing it themselves?
Because the guy was alive. They got the living witness.
No, but before that.
Oh yeah, I see.
I
What
think
you're
they
saying.
might have had. It might be that they had so high of a concentration of drugs in them that physically you could prove that they couldn't actually
remember
do that. No, that
they could do it to themselves.
They would be so incapacitated that you couldn't. I don't really know though.
It's some weird shit. I think this is why you need vigilante justice. Shouldn't someone just to fucking knock them off? Like, shouldn't someone like from the fucking gay black twink prostitution community just fucking knock them off one day? Like that feels like that feels like a Cinemax movie from the like late '80s, where like fucking Avenging Angel just goes in and like kills them on behalf of all the other prostitutes.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done it. Really, just show up with a Domino's pizza. Like he lives in. There's nothing.
I see a flaw in your plan. You would have been suckered into the fucking meth injections for $200.
Well, if he's offering,
yes,
I'm already there. But he lives in like.
It's not a secure.
There's nothing wrong with the building. Nothing against the other people that live in the building, but it's one of the crappier buildings in the neighborhood. I mean,
he seems to intentionally be a rich guy who lives in a not a great area so that he can ply his trade.
Yeah,
it's just sort of very obvious.
Well, it's kind of the same with the Motel 6 thing. Why can you not do weird shit while high in a fucking nice pad?
They do. People do, but they cover it up. Did you see?
Why does he have
Did you see Ray Donovan?
No.
Like when rich people get fucked up in hotels and kill their prostitutes, they have a guy who comes in and cleans it all up for them, so you never find out about it.
That's a good point.
The Motel 6 guy will take fucking $10 from TMZ to spill everything.
Yeah, I guess doing drugs is always bad, but if you're rich, you don't see a lot of rich people, scratching themselves at the bus stop because they're living in nice homes.
I'm just kind of happy there's a West Hollywood a murder story that doesn't involve butt fucking. Is that too much to ask?
This doesn't involve.
No, he apparently never penetrated the people. He just got off on the whole it was like a Cosby thing.
That's some crazy serial killer shit.
Yeah, that's what Cosby did. Cosby never penetrated the women. He just fucking knocked them out cold, and then he fucking jerked himself off on them. That's even worse. Isn't that worse? That's worse, right?
No, I think it's better.
Really?
But it's not
well
great.
for you if you wake up, but I mean, it's still that means
it's weirder.
You're more mentally deranged. At least you can understand a guy who's like trying to fuck somebody, but a guy who's just fucking getting a hard on like injecting people with drugs. That's till they die.
Really creepy.
That's super creepy.
But I don't know how much his position. I don't even know how rich he is, but I'm assuming quite rich.
He's only paying these dudes a few $100.
I mean why pay more than you need to?
I don't know. Trump paid $250,000 for fucking sex with Stormy Daniels or whatever the hell he paid.
Yeah, well, Trump's a fucking idiot.
He's no Ed Buck. Matt, I want to move on to Swedish teenagers. I know you like Swedish teenagers. This one you can't talk. Just a disclaimer: you cannot mention fucking this chick because while she's legal in Sweden, not legal in the United States. Also, she's seems to be mentally disturbed. Greta Thunberg. I think I'm mispronouncing her name properly. She was a girl, the environmental girl who seems like she reminds me of every angry social, like a sort of student council person I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any born agains in your school in high school? Any scolds? Like any of those?
No, we had Mormons.
Really?
Same.
But they didn't rant. They were kind. They didn't rant. We had like born agains in my school, like 4 of them who would like tell everyone how they were going to hell and stuff for drinking and having sex and stuff.
Oh
like
no,
that.
those people would have got their asses kicked.
You can't kick a born again Christian's ass. It's just sort of like it's just like. They're horribly annoying, but like they're born again Christians. You can't beat up born again Christians. It's just like that's not the thing to do. You mock them and make fun of them and pull the chairs off from behind them and fucking steal their shit, but you don't fucking beat them up because that just you're just proving their point. You're just proving their point. So Greta Thunberg is 16. She seems to be mentally disturbed. She is mentally disturbed, as a matter of fact. They keep calling her like on the autism spectrum, which she is. But she also has a history of like emotional distress and cutting herself and self-injury and all this other stuff.
What is wrong with our country and media so her thing is climate change, right?
Yes.
Obviously. Why are we not listening to a scientist?
I don't know. Like, why does a 16-year-old Swedish chick, by the way, what does being Swedish confer upon you as a title of intellectual superiority? I think she's Swedish. We have to listen to her.
There is a faux veneer,
Yes.
almost like a reverse racist thing that, you assume anyone from Scandinavia is very intelligent.
They know and they care about the world more than the rest of us. Like they know, like, because that's where the Nobel Prizes are given out. I don't know. Like that's where like So I've been to Sweden. I've lived in Sweden, and they're just fucking dumb as fuck as we are. There's no evidence that Swedish people are any smarter.
No, they like chain smoke. Like their best restaurant is like at a gas station. I mean,
Yeah.
I like them, but
Attractive looking young ladies. I will say that.
pretty racist.
Good vodka.
Not huge fans of the
No.
Laplanders.
No, very. They have murder, and they were, these were old Vikings who just fucking raped and pillaged.
And Sweden with the Nazi thing, I just always like to mention.
They did. They were. I like when people like historically label themselves as neutral to the Nazis. Like they weren't like Norway was clearly against. They fought against the Nazis.
Yeah.
But Sweden lists themselves as neutral. Like, how are you neutral against the Nazis? What does that mean? Like, Nazis like, we're going to kill 6 million Jews. You're like, well, we have nothing to say about that. Like we're just
See how that shapes up.
we're neutral. We don't like to judge, so we're going to let that one slide.
Wow.
And meanwhile, by the way, you can fuck all our if you're a lieutenant or higher, you can fuck all our ladies because you seem to have a nice uniform. So this chick comes to like America on a fucking sailboat of some kind for 3 weeks, just so people can't say she came on a plane. And she's got it. At first I really hated her, obviously, because I just can't stand anyone who yells and scolds people, even if they're adults, but especially a 90-pound girl screaming at everybody. And by the way, if you're going to scream at anyone, scream at the United Nations people, because who gives a fuck? They're all fucking horrible people. So that's fine.
Well, I don't want to sound like an old, miser,
You're getting there.
but I will not listen to anything a 16-year-old says.
Never.
They don't know what they're talking about.
No.
If you told her that climate change was fake, she'd probably be running with that.
She apparently grabbed on this climate thing, like, because she was in school in Sweden. This is like a lot of the schools in LA. They're preaching this climate apocalypse. She is mentally disturbed to some level and aspy and so forth. So she clung to this idea. She's unable to rationalize the fact that like maybe they're hyping this shit a little bit. So she literally believes the world is ending and like 7 billion people are going to die.
I actually agree with her.
I know you do. You're nuts like she is.
But why is it coming?
Not as cute.
Why is it coming from her? Why are they not talking to a climatologist?
Because
at
they put her.
Yale?
Because those people don't get to speak to the United Nations and have live coverage from all the media networks, and it cause a huge shitstorm.
How is she even allowed to talk to the United Nations?
I don't know.
I don't understand what's happening.
And she sued like 20 countries. And the problem is like, so here's a weird thing. Like so her parents or someone else or some climate groups put her up to this shit, and she's clearly mentally ill. This is not going to end well. You saw her. This is not going to end well. She's going to be institutionalized at some point.
I actually didn't really know that she was super crazy.
Yeah, she's like, well, she's trouble. She's a troubled girl. She clung on to this apocalypse, end of the world thing, like beyond scientific reason, which she doesn't have at 16, just into this like sort of religious zealotry.
Do you think she's read over like has she read a academic paper on climate change?
I would bet she has because she's Aspie and she's probably really smart.
Yeah.
So she probably has all read all that shit. She speaks 5 languages and blah, blah, blah. I hate when people say someone speaks 5 languages.
I don't give you any credit if you're European.
Because the last person, they said that about Melania, right? They always say that about Melania Trump. She speaks 5 languages. You're like, okay,
Yeah,
she's still a fucking
She
whore.
can say anal and
yes, like,
$5,000 in 10 languages.
yeah, pay now, sex later. I get that. You can say it in multiple languages. And the minute they label Melania Trump and other like flight attendants as like speaking 5 languages, they gave up on that. But this girl's legitimately probably a fucking.
They did that with Kobe Bryant too. It always pissed
Oh
me
really?
off.
Oh yes, you're right. Because he was born in Italy, so he's like
he speaks some Italian.
Yes.
Like, yeah, well, you grew up in Italy, so
Yeah.
not really impressed with that.
No. So, but they're clearly exploiting this girl. They clearly found someone who would get a lot of media attention, who could speak to the United Nations because she's 16-year-old and sort of cute. Although when she rants, she looks like she's.
You think she's like a Manchurian candidate type of person?
And they label her like the next Joan of Arc, who, by the way, was I believe died a very horrible death. God spoke to Joan of Arc right when she was 14 or 15 to lead the fucking Catholic rebellion or whatever the fuck it was across France.
All those saints were schizophrenic. I mean, you go around talking to God. That means you're having a conversation with a person that's not there.
Yeah, and she was 15 and like led an army of people before she was fucking flayed. Her skin was flayed and she was fucking murdered or whatever the hell happened to her. Which is probably what's happened. She was. I don't know. Like for French, 15-year-old hot.
To blend in as a man, you can't be too hot.
Did she blend as a man? Was that her story?
Yeah, she like fought.
Oh, I
in
see.
Some war. But
well, she led like an
some
army,
shit.
but they knew she was a young chick. I don't know. But they're all sort of masculine. These girls, they're not like obviously these aren't cheerleaders because they have better things to do.
Right.
But I guess you answered my question right. There's nothing a 16-year-old could scream at you about that you would like. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Like I need to like think about how I've been living my life because, you know,
I'd
I'm
be
whatever.
I'd be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Unless it was like some very specific thing, like, oh, this little Asian kid can play like, you know, Bach backwards, and like, you know, I'd be like, all right, I'll listen to him about Bach.
You're like, I'll take piano lessons from that kid.
Yeah, but I don't care what he thinks about.
Or if it was a victim, like a first-hand victim, say like some chick who was sex trafficked or something like that, had some horrible story about what happened to her, like in Thailand at 14. I'd listen to that and say she was like, you know, kidnapped and all shit. That's a sad story. I'd listen to that. But this girl doesn't have, she's just reciting sort of a speech without any sort of academic citation about shame on you, the world is ending, you don't give a shit, and fuck you, I'm a Swedish 16-year-old girl. And they all applauded her while she's scolding them, which is like a bizarre, worse sexual fetish than Ed Buck. Like this chick is like,
she's the type of person where I would do this thing that is really annoying. So if she was talking to me about climate change, I'd be like, oh, you got an iPhone, huh? Do you know where that's mined, where the uranium or whatever the fuck is in it? Like, you know, I'd be like, where'd you get those Nikes? You know where those are made? I'd start doing that too.
dude, you're wrong, because they swept her of all her like fucking illegal trade.
Did
products.
they?
Yeah,
They
she was
thought
like,
this out that well?
She had like fucking hemp shirts on.
Holy
and like, was
shit.
wearing like fair trade, like
It's a real deal.
vegan, fair trade, vegan, whatever the fuck she was. No, I think they had like some fucking, you know, publicity group, like sweep her down for anything that could like an asshole like you would come by and yell at her about.
I would have got shot down.
She's like, I haven't eaten in 93 days. I'm a fair trade whatever, and I'm donating my fucking feces to Nigeria for research, something like that. They had her come on a fucking boat because they knew that if she came on a plane, the first thing people would say, like, oh, how much jet fuel did you put into the air?
God, I hate her. I'm like a hardcore environmentalist, although not enough that I've stopped using plastic bottles or anything.
Ah, fuck
but
that.
I fucking I really hate her just based on this because it's so manufactured.
And they also, here's the thing. So they set her up so she's, if you make fun of her, she's a child, but you should listen to her as an adult. Like, she's not a child when she's speaking. Like, you should listen to her like she's as smart as an adult. She's telling you adult things. You should listen to her. But if you say she's fucking an annoying fucking scold and full of shit, then she's a child and you're attacking a child.
Yeah, we gotta wait 2 years so we can fuck her and tell her to fuck off.
Yeah, well, you mean figuratively speaking, of course.
No, I'm gonna try and bang her.
Nah, she's gonna fucking cut your dick off and sell it to the fucking Japanese sushi chef, because she is fucking literally. I've seen that face before, and that face is like at 16 already. That face is fucking insane.
Got the bobbit thing going.
And she's an apocalypse person, so she's just like I get the climate thing, but like she is like literally like an Armageddon person. She believes the world is fucking coming to an end, so she will take a knife and fucking cut out your fucking organ.
If the world's gonna end, she's probably gonna want to suck a few dicks first. Why not?
This
live?
really turned really poor. I hope the fucking media comes out for attacking. I think 16 is legal. I think in Sweden it's like 12. I don't know. They're very sexually advanced there. I'll say that. In Norway, the kids in elementary school, they do practice safe sex. I'll give them that. They're very big on safe sex. Mm-hmm. But in fourth grade, their sex ed books have positions.
Really?
Sex positions in fourth grade.
Isn't that kind of a intrinsic thing?
Well, no, but it's like
You have to learn.
instead of having the little stick figures, like, you know, when my sex ed was like the stick figures, and that was really not very self-explanatory about what went where. They actually have like 19 different intercourse.
So their
positions.
sex ed is just like a full-on porn. They're like, try blowing a guy with an ice cube in your mouth and see if that works.
Well, it's not actually sex ed to be like procreative or scared of sex. It's like, you should enjoy sex, and here's how you can really dig it.
Yeah,
So
that's a weird thing to be teaching.
But
too.
then they give everyone condoms and put them on the pill and all stuff like that, so they don't have kids. So
I would just take it negative. I wouldn't demonize it, but I wouldn't be like, hey, you know.
Well, I think it's like healthy. No, I mean, sure, they're not fucking all nymphos. I mean, some kids still don't want to have sex, but I mean, they figure like at 12, 13, you're gonna start banging each other. So why not have a good time and have safe sex? It's very progressive. Very progressive. I mean, if you're in middle school, there's probably
You don't see a lot of AIDS-ridden Swedes.
No, you don't. Just fuck this crazy chick. I had this theory that she came here and she was just yelling at everybody, and she should have done it in a foreign language. Just yelled about how there was like no lingonberry jam in her hotel room and how pissed she was at that. She could be yelling at anything. By the way, she's going to be deceased like within a year. That's the sad part about this. She's going to be institutionalized or deceased. She's got that whole child.
You
actor.
think she's that crazy?
I think she is being used and pushed to the limit. We're like, she's speaking to like all these gatherings now and doing these fucking media tour and all the stuff like that, and it's just going to feed her mania, and she's going to do something fucking nuts.
She's gonna kill herself, and then
Yes.
her handlers are gonna like move her like into the Sahara and say she died of like sun exposure because of the
global warming. The 1 degree Celsius took her. There's nothing we could do about that. Matt, I want to ask you another fucking weird person. I want to ask you about Mark Ronson. You wrote a nice piece on mattralston.net about Mark Ronson, who I haven't heard from in a long time, so I don't know if he's still DJing. Is that
He wrote the A Star Is Born song.
Oh, did he?
In the shadows.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie, man. Sorry.
It's really stupid.
Yeah.
His brother
I
is
saw the
like
original, by the
100
way.
years old, and he's like, "Oh, I'm from Arizona. My brother was in the Civil War."
Well, you're talking about Bradley Cooper now?
Yeah, it's just a
Not Mark Ronson.
It's a stupid movie. No, yeah, not Mark. But
I don't think here's before you start this. I don't know how the Ronson family has so many like sexually ambiguous DJs in their family. They have like three. There's like
her
Samantha
sister
Ronson.
is his sister.
And there's another one, Charlotte, who's also like bisexual, something like. How do you raise a family of like all the kids turn out to be like sexually ambiguous DJs?
I would guess it's some Downton Abbey, like super old money.
It is really old money.
We have no real problems, so we're gonna just act like douchebags.
We're gonna
basically.
DJ and just sleep around with people of different sexes.
Yeah.
So I want you to explain your story about.
When's the last time you saw a poor kid that was transitioning?
No,
Never.
I want to talk about that later. Or a DJ, really.
Or DJ.
DJs, you got to come from money to be a DJ. I don't know
Yeah,
why,
you
because
do.
DJ equipment isn't that expensive, but you still. It seems like more people are trying to be.
Well, you got to have an awful lot of privilege to claim as a profession something that literally any person can do.
Yeah, and also if you were a real DJ without entitlement, like the Ronsons, you probably have to spend a good 5 years getting paid zip, and poor people aren't down for that. So they're not going to fucking, they have to pay rent, man. They can't spend 5 years in a gig trying to get the name out there.
Right.
So they're not going to play fucking clubs for like $11.
They can't be
for free.
writing off their ecstasy purchases on
No,
taxes.
exactly. So you wrote a thing about Mark Ronson, who's a sapiosexual. Is that the word?
Yeah, that means someone that's attracted to intelligent people.
And I couldn't tell if you were angry at him for apologizing for the fact that he pretended to be a marginalized sexual preference community, or the fact that he was lying about the fact that he's a sapiosexual.
No, I don't think he did anything wrong outside of apologizing, because I think what he meant was, I like cool chicks. I like chicks that are smart, and I'm sure
That's what sapiosexual means, right? Because we all have to look it up.
Well, then I guess the new definition from some unnamed group, which I'm quite certain does not exist. They're saying that it's above all else. Like that's your main, not your
Like
main
he
thing. That's all that you care about. Like you will fuck a 500-pound 90-year-old person if they can do a bunch of algebra. Is their theory, and I don't believe it. I don't think that there is a single person who
Just likes to fuck smart women or smart guys.
Yeah, I think there's definitely people that appreciate smart people and they find that attractive, but there's no way that that's the only thing. It's obviously when you're attracted to someone, it's a combination of a lot of different things.
So you're saying when like college chicks sleep with their professors not because they're so smart and they really admire their intellectual capacity, it's more of a daddy issue, perhaps.
Yeah, well,
We're trying to get a good grade. We're trying to get a good grade.
I mean, I think that's part of it. I'm sure, like being a smart, interesting person certainly helps. It makes you more attractive.
But not necessarily be an intellectual powerhouse. Is that what he's saying, or just saying like you're conversantly smart, or is he actually talking about chicks who have like PhDs?
I don't know. I think he was just saying, I appreciate a woman that can hold a conversation, I think is what he meant.
That's so gay.
And then
right? I mean, who says that?
But the thing that weirds me out is that he then apologized and did it in these stupid terms of I didn't mean to insult a marginalized community, and I literally don't know who he's talking about. There are not a bunch of people who are like, we are sapiosexuals, and why would anyone actually be offended, even if you were this thing that's not real? Why would you be offended if he said that? It's so fucking strange.
I think he was trying to say that like sapiosexual does not rise to the level of like transsexual, and therefore making a intersectionality claim of being a sapiosexual should not be seen as like me trying to evoke the privilege that is due to someone who is transsexual, say. Like, I'm not trying to, like...
But no one would have thought... Literally no one thought that.
No,
well, I guess someone did. Who's he apologizing to?
No, the first thing people thought was, I don't know what the hell sapiosexual means. And the second thing they thought was, I thought you fucked dudes. That's right. That's exactly what everyone thinks when they see Mark Ronson. Like, I don't know what it is. I thought you're just fucking gay, dude. Or bisexual, or whatever the hell you call yourself. So the interesting part about your piece was that the lady who called herself a sapiosexual on whatever fucking Grinder or whatever you're on online, Bumblebee, whatever the hell you're on,
Bumble.
Bumble. I honestly don't know how people. I know how people hook up online on dating sites. I don't know how. I believe that every stat about people getting married who have met on dating sites is just false. There's just no way that like. I understand when people hook up on dating sites. There's just no way that people are finding their perfect match on Match.com. Which, by the way, just had to pay like some untold millions of dollars for the fact that they were lying to people about matches, the matches they had, showing them all sorts of hot chicks who liked them and stuff like that when they were all fake again.
Yeah, I mean, if I was ever, I've definitely hooked up with a lot of chicks on Bumble, but if, theoretically something happened and we were getting married, I think the first or even in a long-term relationship, first conversation I'd had is, tell everyone we met at a Lakers game.
Yes.
We are not going to advertise
that we met on Bumble.
that we were two whores, like jerking off on Bumble.
What isn't Bumble the female-led one?
Yeah, the woman has to initiate the conversation.
But ironically, it works out better for men, generally.
Well, I think so. Compared to there's Hitch, which is like young USC chicks. There's Tinder, which is like we just want to fuck. Let's drop the whole pretense of this. And Bumble, which is pretty much the same thing, except like you said, the woman has to say hello. Basically.
So it's like feminist-driven pretense.
There are respectable people on Bumble.
Yes.
Like it's like I work at Pepperdine and I'm a lawyer and I'm on Bumble. They made it this veneer of like it's like a professional
legitimate dating site.
No, they kind of pretend it's like a networking thing.
Oh, like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not because there's a picture of your ass on it.
By the way, I've noticed more and more of those on LinkedIn. They're coming up on LinkedIn.
Really?
Yeah, and also the great thing about AI, the AI function on LinkedIn is if you look at, so women, it's funny because the big thing on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn a lot. The big thing on LinkedIn is that you're not supposed to like sexually exploit women or like comment on their looks or ask for dates or things like that. But tons of women, especially in the sales field, put these fucking big titty, like blonde hair photos of themselves up on LinkedIn.
Nice.
I go, don't comment on this. I'm a professional, but by the way, you can hire me over this fucking dowdy chick with a flat chest. And then when you find that person, it shows you people you may also be interested in linking in with. It seems to do it by looks, so you get like more busty hot chicks like showing off their tits, like from all sorts of industries and fields. So it's sort of like playing into the fact that you're actually just there to fucking jerk off over girls who have jobs.
So they're putting it out there, but at the same time, they're like, I'm a professional.
They always say, "Hey, leave this for Instagram," or some of your comments for Instagram, or like, "Oh, ladies, how many times?" Like some lady will have like fucking a shot of herself with her blouse half undone and her breasts out, and like, "Ladies, how many times do you get like awkward, out of context dating proposals from men on LinkedIn? It's so horrible." I'm like, put a sweater on.
Well,
Maybe put a sweater on. I don't know.
I'm sure it works. I mean, I think you and I have discussed this because we're pretty.
Oh, who we'd hire?
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
Your first instinct would be to hire the 9, but really you should be hiring some ugly dude. So, but I bet you it works because obviously I'd either legitimately or not be accused of sexual harassment. I'd probably end up banging my assistant, and then she'd get mad and sue me. So I just don't want to put myself in that position.
Well, you have to be very careful too, because if you're on like a system like LinkedIn and you can DM with somebody,
yeah.
You have to assume that those DMs are going to meet. They're not going to be public because you're not, necessarily. There's no reason to make them public unless you're some Harvey Weinstein or something like that. But you have to assume that they're being recorded and they're public, and it's supposed to be a business workspace. So when you talk to guys on there, DM with guys, maybe you'll talk about like make some jokes, something like not like fucking off color jokes, but like some football jokes or some other shit like that, and it's fine. But if you're talking to a woman on there about the same, just getting to know somebody about like we're going to do this business together, work together, I want to fucking sell you my script or whatever. You got to be really careful about being informal, because you may be quoted. You may find your fucking DM in a quote on LinkedIn as inappropriate, like someone sent me this inappropriate, DM on here when it's supposed to be for business, and they're being very socially forward. So it's totally a double standard on there. I mean, a guy's not going to say like if you like make a joke about Antonio Brown to some guy on there, he's always not going to go like, "Oh, this guy wrote this Antonio Brown joke and it was so offended me." But if you tell a girl like something like whatever, I saw J-Lo on TV and she still looks great, who knows? That could end up as like an inappropriate. I'm just using my own life examples.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely talk to guys and girls differently,
Yes.
and I'm not a sexist person, but when I talk to a guy, I have essentially no filter, and I just say whatever the fuck I think.
Is that true? I've noticed that in the last 3 years.
When I talk to a chick, I'm thinking, A, I want to sound cool so I can try and fuck her.
Yeah.
And then if I can tell she's not interested or has a boyfriend, I try to not sound like I'm trying to fuck her.
Yeah.
Which just comes off as awkward. And you
have a
know, and then there's
complicated life.
the paranoia about seeming like you're harassing him.
Well, online because it's
So I
reco-
choose
it's
my
all reco-
words more clearly.
It's all recorded. That guy, remember that we covered that guy. The photographer told the woman he'd do the free photo shoot. She sent him naked photos.
Yeah.
And so she reprinted all his conversations online. It's all recorded. I mean, you have to. It's just assume it'll be dumped somewhere, or
I have anytime I hear about it's usually a guy and he's done something wrong. He's been abusive. And he's said a bunch of fucked up shit. Your mom's a cunt. I have the text message right here. Anytime someone's recording someone without their knowledge, like audibly or like sharing selective messages, I'm going back on the person doing that. I think that's fucked up behavior too.
Oh, it totally is, but that doesn't help. That doesn't help you in the moment. I want to finish up with Mark Ronson because you seem to be very upset by him. I'm not sure if it's like your latent homosexuality or something, but is your contention that guys who say they are sapiosexuals are just full of shit? Is that your general contention that they like smart chicks?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it's
because you were all worked up, dude. That's why I was trying to get.
well, it's a word that was. It's a new word, I think, and so a girl on Bumble said it in her bio. It said a sapiosexual, 35, African American, whatever it was, and I wrote, or she said hi. So I go, "What's your favorite book?" Thinking she's like some kind of intellectual, and she goes, "Books, lol." So I'm like,
She got you.
I don't know. What
She fucking reeled you in like a fish, dude. She's the female version of you. She was just putting shit out there to fucking hook up. Sapiosexual, that'll get me a guy who's like has a job, I guess, and I can fuck him. So in case something goes wrong, he's got work.
Well, it made me realize though. Maybe I thought if you're a sapiosexual, you're attracted to intelligent people. I thought that meant that you sort of value intellectualism, that you yourself are well read and interested in fine arts and whatnot. But that's not necessarily true.
No.
It could be like, I'm into Asian chicks. That doesn't make you an Asian.
They used to use the word cultured. Is that word no longer used? Who loves culture?
I think that would suffice. I mean,
I hate that. Anytime I see someone writes that, I just would run the other way.
there's certain
Or museum.
things.
The word museum makes me cringe.
Yeah, there are certain things that only assholes say. Sapiosexual being one of them. I liked the book better than the movie.
Yes.
What else? I have a hybrid. Nothing wrong with having a hybrid, but just sort of putting shit out there. There's some other ones I can't think
Like
of.
the ones that make you seem like a sapiosexual, basically.
Yeah, but I'm still. I mean, and I didn't really follow up on this very much. I only saw the headline and read one article about it.
Of course, that's deep research for you, dude. Fucking fake news.
But I'm curious who pressured him to apologize.
Oh, they all have publicists and these fucking ladies who run around Hollywood and like see something and hyper-react and say, Mark, you got to apologize. Someone wrote a fucking bad tweet about you and shit like that. And the guy just goes, okay, fuck, I'll do it because, I have all these friends in the fucking transsexual community who go to my shows and you don't want to fucking 5-person protest outside your show.
Yeah.
Everybody caves and everyone caves in Hollywood. I mean, everybody caves. So, I mean, Dave Chappelle didn't cave, but most everybody else caves because honestly, at the end of the day, he probably has a high percentage of gays in his audience and people that are really into this activism and the fucking this culture of like identifying victimhood based on who you like to fuck, which is a weird thing.
This has got to be as far as this can go.
Could
it get more absurd than this?
I don't know. I'm waiting for someone to do fucking the bestiality thing and just claim it as a victimhood. Maybe that fucking sexy vegan guy from West Hollywood will just claim it as a victimhood.
Well, bestiality is interesting because, like,
It sure is, Matt.
Say you're a guy that wants to fuck a cow. It's perfectly legal to kill a cow.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you rather be fucked than have your throat slit?
I can't tell if you're doing a bit or you're confessing to something. I don't feel like
I might rather just die, but I'm saying
I don't care about the guys fucking the animals. Like I don't care I'm not the PETA guy who cares about the animals' perspective because they probably fucking enjoy it to some extent, right? If you're a cow, I mean, and you fucking go 25 years just waiting to be slaughtered, chewing grass, waiting to be slaughtered, fucking some fucking redneck sticking his dick in your fucking vagina, probably like, okay, whatever. That's kind
I
of
don't
cool.
think he barely noticed.
Probably barely knows. But at best, they think like, oh, that's a new sensation. Maybe it feels okay.
Yeah.
But I think the guy needs to be arrested regardless because he's so fucked up. Who knows what else he's doing? I want to talk about, Matt, I want to talk about women who cry at work. I know you made a lot of women cry at work. So I sent you that article about this. I didn't understand. So this every time, like, it seems to me like every time, this is what's happening in 2019. Like every time women have issues, like just natural female tendency things like crying, instead of just saying like chicks like to cry, which we've all known since we were born, right? Chicks like to cry. They're
I don't know
hormonal.
if they like to cry, but it's sort of
No, they cry a lot more than men. They cry.
natural. It's a
natural
hormonal
thing,
thing.
a hormonal thing. They
Yeah.
cry, or they see something sad, they cry, or they cry together. They probably cry in the women's room. I've never been in
My
that.
sister, God love her, cried when she saw a cockroach in her kitchen.
Really? Cried out of what? What was the emotion?
Hysteria.
Oh, hysteria. Yeah. Okay. Not because she was like, I have to kill it, like cry because she had to kill it or something.
No, she was just emotionally overcome by
Yes.
the little creature.
So we as men, as logical, rational men, understand that women cry. But somehow this new thing is like women, the foibles and weaknesses of women have to be now no longer seen as weaknesses and foibles of their gender that men have as well, their own. Let's say fantasy football. And but they have to be now elevated to some sort of like high. This is like a sign of excellence. Like this is no longer, you're no longer crying because that's the weakness of your gender. Like the fact that you're overly emotional, hormonal, which used to be seen as a weakness of your gender, is now a sign of excellence. So I sent you this article. The woman wrote an article about how crying at work is actually a healthy sign of a healthy company, a strong company, to have women who are able to cry at work.
My friend's girlfriend, who I like very much, told me the same.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's not only okay, it's like now a sign of like a leading company. Now you're going to be fucking Microsoft if women cry at your office. You're going to be fucking Google. Whereas the people that shun women cry in their office are just fucking be doomed. We don't do it's the opposite. By the way, the opposite is male. Anytime men ask for things that they want to do, like, hey, we could use a second urinal in the bathroom because I'm tired of waiting an hour to fucking take a leak. Oh, fucking male privilege, dude. Like, what do you need a second bathroom? What do you need a fucking urinal for?
I mean, I was going to say it's a double standard because, well, maybe not. So if you're a CEO or a boss, you're an aggressive, testosterone-laden, you're aggressive. You're no nonsense. You're no bullshit.
You fought your way to the top.
You're an asshole,
Yes,
basically.
a-hole.
No one's commending that.
Nope.
No one's commending, I got in an argument with a guy in the 7-Eleven parking lot over a parking spot. I punched him in the face. Then he pulled a gun out. No one's like, that's just natural male behavior. It's like that should be celebrated. But thinking about it more, crying at work is harmless, isn't it? It's not like
For the women?
For anyone. It doesn't really have...
I mean, I guess it's. You don't want a fucking room full of crying people. That seems like it'd be very disturbing.
No, but
Like if I can't wear fucking shorts, you can't cry. That's my fucking rule. If I can't wear my sandals, if I have to wear closed-toed shoes, you can't cry. You can't bawl your eyes out.
It might be one of those things where, kind of like having a emotional support animal. Like if you're crying at work all the time,
Yes.
you might want to get some psychiatric.
Well, I've heard from women before the mysterious place of the women's room. That women cry in the women's room all the time at the office. Like
Really?
they go, it's just a bodily function, man. It's like taking a shit. So you have to take a shit. You go to the bathroom. Women have to cry because they're hormonally driven, and something just cross their fucking brainwave and make them cry, and they don't want to cry in front of everybody because it looks weak. And so they go to the bathroom to cry. And this is like the whole nursing thing in public. Everyone's supposedly shaming nursing people. I think it's okay to go to the bathroom to cry. They got a couch in there, as far as I know. Like, why would you sit in your cubicle and just bawl? Because you're going to make people
What
very...
are you talking about? They have a couch in the bathroom?
Yeah, they do, in the women's room.
What?
Yeah, they have couches in the women's room.
What the
Dude,
fuck?
have you never walked in the women's room accidentally when you're... Yeah, so the women have all the gender-neutral bathrooms.
Well, it's being...
They lost out the gender-neutral bathrooms, by the way, because they don't want men to sit on the couches.
Yeah, there's now one gender-neutral bathroom and one women's room.
The women's room still has the couch, by
how
the
that
way.
works.
They have
Okay.
couches because women have to sit there to cry.
So depending... I feel like you're making this up. But depending on the job, if you're an astronaut, right?
Yep, I can imagine that.
And you have to make some kind of last-second decision, do you want someone who's going to start crying, or do you want a guy who's going to not be crying and emotionally with it and flip
Well,
the right switch.
I feel like women have been.
So couldn't it be detrimental in a high pressure job?
I mean, there's this whole emotional IQ thing, which I think is bullshit. I mean, yes, if you're like work with preschool teacher, emotional IQ seems kind of important. But like you said, if you're an astronaut, emotional IQ probably not important whatsoever.
I think being dead inside is the best option.
Yeah,
having no emotions. Isn't that like you never see an army sniper? I think the guy that works for SEAL Team 6. If that guy starts crying, he's off the team.
I think we talked about we'd rather have a president who's a pedophile, who's like very like.
That was one of our better
yes
ideas.
But like that a guy who's like just fucking dead inside and like is like has a mustache and like doesn't have like covers all his tracks and is very meticulous.
Yeah,
like he knows how to get shit done. Versus you mentioned this to me on Skype. Like, what if Elizabeth Warren was president started crying? Like, what if she was just like like the Russians were attacking or whatever the fuck's attacking us, and she just starts crying?
I think rightfully so. Our enemies would consider it a sign of weakness.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, the only thing Trump does well is he's fucking nuts. So people don't know what he's going to do. They're like, fuck, he's nuts, and he's got this finger on the nuclear trigger.
Yeah.
They're like, what if the fucking crazy orange guy pushes a fucking button or just attacks us because fucking Melania won't blow him anymore? I mean, they don't really know what he's going to do.
Isn't it fucking crazy that he's orange?
Yes, it is.
Have you ever met an orange person?
Did you see the? Oh yeah, if you go to South Florida, by the way, you see a lot of orange people. So it's a South Florida thing. It's a weird thing, but they're people like the old people retirees down there are all orange.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's like
I might be racist only against the orange.
Oompa Loompa people or something like that. But it's like, so women crying, fine. Of course, I think no guy goes like, women's fucking stop crying, I'll kick your ass. Like no one's like complains to the HR like, oh, Pam keeps crying in the fucking marketing department, we got to stop her. Like no guy would. It's just like the nursing. It's this faux thing. It's like the nursing. Like what guys are complaining about? Oh, a woman was nursing her baby. This must be stopped. It's an outrage.
Well, how would it work in? Which I honestly don't know. I know the military about 5 years ago stopped doing what they called negative reinforcement, which is when they're like, "You're a piece of shit. Your mom's a whore. Keep doing push-ups."
Yeah.
They realized
that was like my whole
childhood. After 150 years that didn't work.
Yes.
That people actually just got kind of sad. And,
well, technically, it worked on like the guys who used to be in the military,
right.
who were just like savagely driven, low self-esteem guys, where like you just challenge your fucking manhood, just like football. You challenge your manhood, and they'll go fucking kill themselves for you. Yeah. But now that they have a much more mixed, diverse group, it doesn't work anymore, especially for women.
Right. So I'm wondering how that would work now if you're like
crying,
an army general, and you're like, do 10 more push-ups, you ugly whore, and then she starts crying.
Yes.
Do you have to like? Is there like a mediator that has to come, like an HR person that's like, hey, she's allowed to cry for 10 minutes, and then back to the push-ups? Like, I don't know.
I have no clue what the fuck it is why women cry. All I know is it's not a sign of superiority, and the idea that they're pushing. Fine, you want to cry. First of all, no guy's ever complained about women crying at the office. If anything, all complaints about women at the office place take place from other women. Only women complain about other women because either guys don't care or they're scared. Like who ratted on Marge who was crying? Like who wants to be the dude who like, yeah, I did. She was crying. I went fucking file a formal complaint. Like no one's gonna do it. Like, oh, her fucking top was inappropriate, so I went and filed a complaint, or whatever. It's always other women who do that shit.
Yeah.
But the idea that you're going to elevate, let's face it, crying is a weakness of the gender. It's a frailty of the gender. Maybe in the fucking existential sense, it's really a great thing. But at the office, it's not a great thing to be crying like in your cubicle. So, but to elevate this is like
you're doing a job. I mean, like imagine if let's see, there's a clutch free throw. I'm trying to think of a game. Let's just say hypothetically, the Lakers are in the finals. LeBron,
fuck, man. Yeah, you got me upset.
3 seconds left on the clock. LeBron's got to hit 2 free throws to clinch the game. And he starts crying.
He does cry a lot, though, doesn't he? He actually does cry.
I think Bosch cried a lot.
Not during the game. LeBron does not cry. He just complains like a bitch.
I think he does do some crying.
He cries after games a lot.
There's nothing worse than seeing a man crying.
I hate fucking seeing guys. When like Michael Jordan, when that shot of him with the trophy, the first trophy, I think it was, when he had his arm draped around, he was crying, his eyes out. Like, dude, like, I mean, yeah, they're like, you don't realize how much work went into this. I'm like, I don't know, everyone works, man. Like, you got to play basketball.
Well, sometimes you get
it wasn't that hard.
Overwhelmed. I mean, I went with this girl I was dating to the Abbey. It's a gay bar, Very fun though, but very, very loud. You know, they pump the music in. Just very stimulating, very overwhelming.
Thanks for setting the gay bar scene, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
I was wondering what it was like in there.
We walked out. I thought everything was cool. Like, hey, I had a good time, had a few drinks, and she just
Started crying?
Just started crying.
That's not good on a date.
Like, what the fuck is going on here? She's like, I'm sorry. It was overwhelming. Like, just by this, not a response I would have.
No, but you're not gonna fucking leave her on the street.
I thought it was kind of cute actually, but I did think it was weird as well.
I don't. This whole thing is I don't understand why the male stuff is all male privilege, and female weakness is all now has to be repurposed as a sign of excellence. It's not. Crying is not a sign of an excellent office. Women crying in the office is not a sign. It's just a sign that fucking men are really, really fucking uncomfortable.
It would almost be analogous to a guy jerking off at work.
I don't see that at all, but yes, I'll go with you. I'll go with you on this.
Well, I'm trying to think. Maybe a guy, the guy that clears his throat, to kind of
what are guys?
I don't know. What some guys do that's equally as annoying as crying.
They look down the ladies' tops, or they size up the lady. There's always these complaints about how the guy at the office is checking out the lady's ass in the skirt or whatever. I'm like, that's natural too, by the way. But that's not really approved at the office. They never said guys checking out the hot secretary at the office is a sign of a great workplace, because men are allowed to be men are allowed to be free with their fucking natural instincts. It's the exact opposite. That's seen as
what am I supposed to wear? A blindfold? How am I going to not look at the girl's ass when she's changing the copy?
No, the guys are still looking. They just have to be more fucking circumspect about it. But you'll never see an article from a guy like, guys fucking getting boners checking out the hot chick at the office is a sign of a great company. That's just not going to happen. So guys do that. Women cry. We can all fucking get along. As long as the guys don't touch the chick, and as long as the girl cries in the couch in the bathroom, we're all fucking fine. That story bothered me more than any story this entire fucking week. I don't know why. Now we got an email from Owen about tranny children. Wow, Owen, fucking very progressive. Statistically speaking, isn't the rate of parents raising their little boys as girls approximately 20,000% higher in Hollywood than the rest of the country? Is there any way to statistically explain this massive anomaly? I sent you that photo of, ironically, in coordination with Owen, that photo of Megan Fox. Those three girls
that's right.
who were actually boys.
Yeah.
Somehow and she's not the only one. There's a fucking what's his name? The
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron adopted a. But here's what I understand about Charlize Theron. She went to Africa to adopt a really cute black baby boy, and then almost immediately turned him into a girl. Because she obviously hates men. She fucking, God knows what her history is. Her mom shot her dad, who was an abusive drunk, in front of her. Yeah,
Why did she fuck Sean Penn? Oh, that's victim.
Oh my God,
victimhood 101.
I get the woman who has a bad dad hates men. If you don't like boys, you like girls. Why don't you fucking buy a girl? Why did you buy a boy? Concoct the story that at 3 he decided he wanted to be a girl, and then make him a girl. Just buy a girl.
Less street cred. I mean. I don't know how you turn a girl into a boy.
Well, right now he's 3. She's dressing him in dresses, gave him a girl name. And she says that he came to her at 3 and said, I'm supposed to be a girl. And she's like, oh, okay. All right.
I probably came to my parents at 3 and said, I have x-ray vision and I'm a fireman. And they were like, go fuck off.
My parents have a tape of me.
Why would you listen to that?
At 4 saying I wanted to be a garbage truck. They didn't fucking give me a mechanical arm, start picking up shit and sending me out in the streets at 5 a.m. to walk around town, picking up trash. So he's like, you're a fucking moron. Go shut up and go to your room.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to this, and, I definitely lean libertarian, and I'm not a fan of the government, but I think it's child abuse, and frankly, I think they should take the kids away from them. I
totally agree. I mean, the fact that, 1/3 of 1% of people, adults in this country, identify as transgender. But somehow, it's 80% among children that their parents in Hollywood identify them as transgender.
Yeah, why is it a coincidence that the people who are sort of, caught up in these issues happen to have the transgender children?
Right.
Certainly it's not a coincidence.
It's Angelina Jolie. It's Megan Fox, who, by the way, is on record saying she hates men. She thinks men are fucked up.
Who is this? Angelina?
Megan Fox.
Oh, Megan.
She's literally on record saying, which is
so
whatever.
her Beverly Hills 90210 husband's a cuck, is what you're saying?
Well, he hasn't worked in 15 years. She says that he's the second man she ever had sex with. She had a high school relationship, and then she met him later on. She doesn't like men.
They don't have sex.
She says she's a lesbian, but she will not sleep with women because they may have slept with men before. That's how much she doesn't like men.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that is fucking hardcore.
Yeah. So I get. So God knows how many times she was molested by some guy when she was younger. I get that. Or Charlize Theron seeing her
She
dad.
got fired from the Transformers because she was openly talking shit about Michael Bay.
Yes. She doesn't like.
And Michael Bay was like, hey, you know there's other attractive women in Hollywood. Why don't you go fuck yourself?
Yeah.
She
basically.
lost out on $100 million just by being a cunt.
We know she hates men, but God knows she's been around guys like Michael Bay her whole life. So what? So she's been molested or whatever. So I don't mind the fact that a girl's been exploited, doesn't like men, but then to pretend that has no impact on your decision that all three of your little boys, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, all decide to wear dresses and take on female personas. You're telling me that's a coincidence?
That's the mark of a bad person. And I've thought about this quite a bit. And everyone has issues. You know, everyone's fucked up in certain ways and, you know, had bad experiences and whatever. What separates a good person from a bad person, in my view, is someone who takes their issues out on other people.
Yes.
I think that's what makes you a bad person. And that's
especially the most innocent, defenseless people, right?
So, yeah, and that's precisely what she's doing, and it's really fucked up.
I always tell my kids since they're little, like I'm always like they're picking on someone, whatever, they're picking on their little sister or whatever, like go find the biggest kid in your fucking school and take a swing at him. If that's what you want to do, if you're angry and you want to get in a fight with somebody, go find the biggest fucking meanest kid in your school and take a poke at him.
Pretty good advice.
And then get in a fight and get it out that way, man. Don't pick on defenseless people because that's fucking pussy.
Yeah.
Like if you just need to get fucking punched and you need to punch someone, go after the big fucking bully kid in school because that's fair enough. No one's gonna give a shit. But yeah, it's always
bullies is kind of the same phenomenon. I mean, their dad probably hits them.
Yeah.
And they turn into a bully. And
I've experimented with my kids on that. It doesn't always work that way. But so she has 3 kids. So Megan Fox has 3 kids, and they have to do these stories. And then the media, you know, Elle magazine or fucking People has to cover the stories if it's legitimate, like as if her kid at 4 or 5 says, so her kid's being made fun of at school. Her 5-year-old or 6-year-old goes to kindergarten in a dress, basically in drag. Your boy's in drag. So even in L.A., she goes, you wouldn't think in L.A. where it's very progressive. Like even then, the kids are making fun of the boy who's in a dress.
I wasn't a mean kid or a bully, but I certainly would have made fun of the kid and wouldn't feel bad about it to this day.
We had a kid where I grew up, and he would go to all the high school football games when we were in high school. And he was there for like 20 years. Older guy, beard, stubbly face, you know, disturbed guy. He would wear a cheerleader outfit, a girl's cheerleader outfit to the games. And we all said, yeah, that's him. He's basically harmless, but nobody sit near him. Like that was like you just knew there was like a 40-year-old guy in a cheerleader costume. You don't sit near that guy, right? You don't need to kill him. You don't need to beat him up or drive him out of town on the rail. Just fucking stay away from that guy. He's got his own thing going on.
Keep the kids away from him.
Yeah, but like, how could they not send Child Protective Services in to at least investigate how all these boys are now being given girl names and being dressed as girls, and the parents pretending. Maybe the kids are saying this shit that I prefer to wear dresses, mommy. Who knows? When they hear all this like negative stuff about men for their entire lives, and their dad's a cuck, maybe they are saying like fucking being a chick would be a lot better. But someone's got to stop this until they're like 16 or 18 years old. Someone's got to stop the fucking gender swapping shit that's going on in fucking affluent white areas only. You don't see this. There's no way you're gonna see this fucking in Compton, right? There's no way a fucking 5-year-old boy in Compton goes to his single mom who's working 3 jobs and trying to fucking get by and says, I think I like to wear dresses. I want to have a girl name.
Yeah,
Mom,
feel like, get the fuck out of my face.
Backhand the shit out of that kid. Fucking send him out in the streets and tell him to go fucking, go do some man job.
I mean, if I had a son, I don't think I would care if he, if he was like, I want to wear a dress. I'd be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck what you wear, but you're not a girl.
No. Well, I would say I would give a fuck what you wear. You can't send your son to school in a dress, dude. You just can't. If they want to fucking, first of all,
I don't see any, even if the kid has some sort of gender dysphoria, I don't see him requesting a dress. Like that's the most like extreme. What fucking of either gender kids wear dresses?
Yeah.
Don't little girls wear fucking pants and?
I think the kindergarten their parents dress them, so they always like This is like the kids like this is the kid's decision to do. So I'm like, well, yeah, who went to the fucking Kmart and bought them the dress? Like, what do you mean this is the kid's decision? Like they're four, they got on a bus and went to Melrose to go shopping at the fashion.
Right. When I was a kid, I'll tell you what I wore. Whatever the fuck someone bought for me.
Yeah,
they were crappy horizontally striped shirts. Not sure why I couldn't wear a white V-neck.
Dude, I had wool pants in the summertime.
What were our parents fucking with us?
I had fucking shirts with zippers on the front.
Why do kids have to wear retarded clothing? Why can't they just wear Levi's and a hoodie?
I don't understand. It was some kids are. I've always made sure to have my kids have fucking nice, cool clothes. And by the way, the cool clothes are cheaper than the actual fucking lousy clothes. But I literally had jeans on my pants that said Husky on the back of them.
Yeah,
I had husky jeans. It would like on the back, right, and label on the back, like just.
But you never met a husky adult. Oh, it said Husky.
It said Husky on them, like Husky brand. Like, dude, even the 6-year-olds know what Husky means. Fucking, why did you just come with a fat kid?
Were you fat?
No.
Or were you Husky?
I was Husky. I mean, I wasn't fat. I was just like, it was a Sears brand. They were cheaper, I think. My parents were really big on cheap shit. Like, I could bless my mom. She got by and whatever she had to for these kids and stuff like that. So, but it was like $10 jeans. It could have said fat fucker on the back of them. She would have bought them for me. My son is gay. Jeans. It wouldn't have mattered. We actually bought, like, literally in the summertime, the wool pants would go on sale because it was hot out. We would buy the wool pants. I'd have to wear wool pants because they were like, they were cheaper. And then always said, this is how I learned where the fucking country of Romania was. Because all the clothes that we bought were made in Romania. So I had to go in the fucking encyclopedia at school and look where Romania was just to know why it said made in Romania. I was like, wow, exotic. This is really exotic.
It was the comedian who said, I want to say it was Sinbad. He said, we didn't have Nikes. We had Sykes.
Yes, right. Matt, I want to end today by talking about my favorite newspaper in Iowa, the Des Moines Register. Did you see that story about this guy, Carson King?
Yeah, I did.
It was fucking like, I couldn't even tell what was going on. The story was changing so fast. So this guy was on, he's 24. He works, I don't know where he works. He's a security guard or something like that at some place. He went to Iowa, University of Iowa, because everyone in Iowa went to Iowa. And they all never, ever leave Des Moines for some reason.
Iowa's a pretty underrated place.
As a state, you mean?
Yeah.
People seem to love, everyone there seems to be happy.
Well, they're all very well educated.
Yeah, I don't know if I go that far, but I mean, like...
Well, no, they have the best education system in the country.
Oh, you mean they're public
They're more educated than people in New York.
But yeah, New York, yeah, you got me between New York and California, and probably Mississippi. But everyone I've ever met from Iowa who lives, like, went to school there and lives there, seems to be happy. Like, pretty happy. Like, they're just, there's a farming, agriculture community, and people are just sort of like,
it's pretty cool. It's flat. You're not distracted by hills, and
yeah, you don't want to.
You can kind of look forever. It gives you a certain perspective.
All right,
seeing the curvature of the earth.
Fucking Alaska, dude. Like, you look at, hey, it's flat, man. Like most people want mountains, dude. Don't you understand? You come from mountains, so you're like, oh, it's flat. This is an awesome terrain.
I was mesmerized. I knew what plains were, but goodness, I didn't know.
You didn't know what Big Sky meant until you went there?
They were literally flat.
You're like when you go to Montana, it's like you don't know why it's called Big Sky Country, and you go there, you're like, fuck, the sky is so big.
The sky is bigger.
Yes, yeah, there's no mountains. It's just fucking.
We got to get Thunberg to explain that phenomenon.
She may be dead right now. So this guy, Carson King, went on. Game Day was in Iowa with the. Is that guy still alive? The old guy who does Game Day. He seems like he's teetering on the edge.
Chris Berman?
No, the old coach. I love game. I actually like Game Day because they go to fucking even bad games. They hype it up like it's fucking the craziest game ever. They go to school and then you have 10,000 people cheering drunk there in the hind. So this guy put up the sign. Carson King put up the sign saying, "I need money for Bud Light," basically behind the
Busch Light. Actually,
Busch Light, yeah,
which makes him kind of a loser.
It is.
Yeah, why not? If you're asking for free shit, why not step up to the Bud Light?
But I think he actually knew the Busch Light would even work better on the thing.
It is funnier actually.
Totally
now that
funnier.
I think about it.
And he put his Venmo account on there, and like people sent in like $50 just so he could buy beer or whatever it was. And then he said, I'm not keeping them. This is the part I didn't really believe. That he said he's not going to keep the beer money. He's going to donate to the Children's Hospital nearby because he felt really wrong about getting beer money over the, from the thing.
I thought he actually did donate it, but you're saying we have no.
No, he did, but it was like
Okay.
50. He got like $50, and he said, I'm not going to spend. I'm going to buy my own fucking beer. I'm going to donate this money to charity. And when they found out about that, both Venmo and Busch. Isn't Busch Budweiser? It's Anheuser-Busch, right? So same company. They stepped in and said, we'll fucking match donations of anyone who donates to you. And he ended up raising like $1 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they gave it to the Children's Hospital in Iowa. And so the Des Moines Register gets this reporter to write an article about him. Who is this guy, Carson King? He's raised $1 million. He's on social media, all this stuff like that. and they wrote an article about him that actually was mostly positive. But then for some reason they included in there that he in high school had like 2 racist tweets on his Twitter feed. Mm-hmm. And when I ever see those stories, I think 2 things. Like, as most people do, like, why the fuck are you looking at a guy's 8-year-old tweets? Back and thing. Then my other thing is like, why would you keep racist tweets on your fucking Twitter feed? Like, I know it was 8 years ago, but it doesn't take you 8 years to find them and delete them.
Well, I think
just search the N-bomb on your Twitter feed and take those out.
I think it didn't occur to him because his racist tweets, which by the way, it's impossible to find. So every article is like, yeah, he insinuated that.
I don't think there was an N-bomb.
African American.
Yeah. It was
like, can you tell me what the fuck the guy said so I can form my own opinion on this?
He claims he was repeating what a Tosh.0 skit about
I think
black
in one
people.
of them, yeah, and I think in the other one he was quoting like a Kanye West.
Yeah,
that said nigga or whatever.
Yeah,
but I think it didn't occur to him because I don't think he considered them racist.
No,
I don't
he was
think
like,
they were.
Well, either they were slightly racist, and he grew up in Iowa, and it just is funny with all the kids. Like when you fucking the Brentwood kids school here singing the Kanye song with dropping N-bombs over and over again.
Yeah,
they don't think about it because they all come from a rich white.
Why would you think? I wouldn't think about it.
No, but I could see
I
how
did karaoke the other day, busted out some Tupac.
Did you
drop some N-bombs in that motherfucker?
Well, that's at least in context with the music playing. If you just walk down the street like just yelling N-bombs and going like, "Hey man, Tupac," like you're gonna
that'd be a problem.
That would be a problem. So I think there was the tweets. You don't want fucking racist slur tweets on your Twitter feed anyhow. But this reporter they hired, Aaron Calvin, went and dug into his old tweets and added this into the story that he had these 2 racist tweets. Then Bush and Venmo have to drop out from donating money to the hospitals because they're fucking corporate weasels. And the minute they see any trouble, they run. As opposed to saying like, well, it's probably nothing. He's doing a great job raising money. They just drop out.
Yeah, that was a fucking bitch-made move for sure.
And then the weird part was that the editor of the paper, in defending this reporter who went sort of out of context, said, this is a standard background thing we do on all people we cover. Like, and like, it was like, no, it doesn't. You don't. No one does that for anything. You don't like. No. The old ladies are holding a bake sale. You know, a bake sale store. You don't like go in the old ladies' Twitter feeds and go back 8 years to see if they wrote something fucking racist about Obama or something like that, completely out of context.
No, and the guy Aaron, whatever
Calvin,
the reporter's name is, if you look at a photo of him, he looks like a fucking piece of shit. You can tell by looking at some people that they're annoying assholes.
Yeah, and when he was fired. Then he was fired because then all the fucking other people on the other side, whatever, fucking started doxing him. Went back through his shit and found some like homophobic, which is weird.
And sort of ironically, his homophobic or racist in quotes tweets were even tamer than the guy that he got fired.
But they had to fire somebody because
not fired, but you know what I mean.
Well, half the people in Iowa are Republicans, so they had to fire the guy. They had to fire the guy, the reporter. The editor never got fired, by the way. She kept her job, even though she's the one who approved the fucking article. And Barrymore may have said, this guy looks like a fucking white supremacist.
Well,
Go check
I heard
his
her
feed.
uncle may have dropped an N-bomb in 1978, so maybe we should fire her. She was in the room.
So she's out. But here's the thing. So, like, I'm of 2 minds of this. One is, I don't know how you haven't, at this point, cleaned your Twitter feed or your social media feed of things that might be racist.
It's been on my to-do list for a good 6-7
Oh yeah,
months.
I'm going back. I don't need to check yours. I'm just gonna say you had old racist tweets. I just assume they're there. Like I don't even I ain't gonna look.
I'm sure there's nothing racist, but I'm sure there's some stuff that people would accuse of me of being.
But
racist.
you weren't on Twitter when you were 16 in high school. Like imagine that.
Oh no.
Imagine fucking that.
I wasn't even on TV.
No, just imagine if we had social media when we were in high school. And we had thought it was all private, and we're writing shit back and forth to each other.
I would just have been perving out. I would just be DMing chicks like, "Let me see your boobs."
Oh yeah, or talking to your buddies about some chick's boobs in school, or how you want to fuck some chick in school, or how some teacher you want to bang some teacher, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, "Oh, what's this? This guy's fucking sexually perverted. He wants to like this. Check it out. He wants to fucking rape the art teacher. Wants to fucking stick his dick in their art teacher's ass. Like what? This guy's got to get out of school.
Yeah,
it's nuts. And I still don't know how. So I used to go to my kids' school and do like the internet career day or whatever the hell it was. And the first rule I gave, these are little kids, like 9, 10, like don't use your real name online. Just like fucking get fake accounts. Don't use your real name because when you're 24, there was that kid. I mean, some of these are semi-legit, like that kid who got kicked out of Harvard because they found his racist tweets from high school. Mm-hmm. Okay, he was 18. These were when he was 16. So that's a little different. The guy at CNN.
He seemed to. Not that I don't know how to feel about that because his stuff was pretty mean.
It was mean, and the SNL guy's stuff was mean too. and he couldn't erase this shit. It was on video from appearances. But like this shit, you gotta like look at the stuff you can control, and like how can you not just erase? So on my Twitter feed, it erases after everything's older than 3 months or 6 months, erases automatically. So it took 1 second to click that option from one of these third-party things.
Note to self.
Yes. Well, why do you need? And it sort of erased like 4,000 tweets like within 30 seconds.
Right.
You don't need your old tweets. It's not like you're gonna like do a book of your old tweet, Matt's old tweets like 1995. Like, but like, can I just look at those on Twitter? Can I
It's
just
all
look
utter horse shit anyway.
And can I just look at those on Twitter for free? Like, I don't understand that. Like, so why would you not delete your tweets? It's gonna get you in fucking. I mean, it's Kevin Hart. It's anybody. Everybody put shit out there, even when they're older. Why would you not delete it? And then second, why is the fucking Des Moines Register going after a guy randomly who's raised $1.6 million for Children's Hospital charity?
It's pretty weird. It is strange. I mean, when you talk to the kids about the fake name, which I think is a good idea, like I'm picturing myself having a kid, try and mold him into like a guy that gets a ton of ass.
Yeah.
So
That's your dream.
I want to be like, yeah.
You may just pull the condom off one day just for that.
Be like, yeah. Be the guy that's too good for social media.
Yeah.
Like when people are like, "What's your Instagram?" Just do a real smug like, "I don't have it.
Yes.
I'm not on that shit."
Yeah. Yeah.
That will. They'll start blowing you.
You think so?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think you're better off doing the buff pictures online and sharing, telling the girls are hot in DMs and stuff like that. That's
It's a pretty sick like Eddie Vedder type of move though.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be like, nah, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, but you couldn't do Eddie Vedder moves until you actually had sold your first 5 million albums.
Otherwise, you're just a creepy guy.
You're just a fucking like Kurt Cobain. You and I talked about this before. If he wasn't successful, like financially and commercially successful, he would just be the biggest asshole loser everybody ever knew.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. Once you've made your millions and you're set, then you can do cool Eddie Vedder moves. But until then, you got to put your son on Instagram trying to get ass because there's so much ass on Instagram.
I mean, there's so much ass that it does allow for various strategies, but I think the sort of poetic, Northwestern possible serial killer type of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to have a kid just to show him all the ways to get laid.
Yeah. You could go through Little League parents, man. Little League moms, single moms.
I don't know if they'd be into my whole agenda.
Yeah, actually, probably not. No, they're not. They're sapiosexual. So I'm not sure they'd go for that. All right, that's our show for today. Another shout out to Austin and Richmond. Mega super fan. I hope he's a paying mega super fan on Patreon.com. I'll check that out afterwards. I'm pulling these shout outs back. Matt, you have something you wish to pimp and promote from today, this week? Anything you're working on?
No.
You're taking over the Ed Buck trade in West Hollywood. If anyone's looking for $300, easy 300.
I'm basically Ed Buck, except instead of black male prostitutes and meth, I just like to get chicks drunk.
Tequila, silver tequila. And
I am
girls.
very consensually with tequila. It turns out they just want to drink it anyway.
Yes.
So, that seems to work pretty
well. How
well.
much, by the way, I don't know the meth prices in West Hollywood. How much does like an overdose amount of meth cost you?
I have no idea. I bet you it's not very much. So.
No, I would think it's like $20, right? Probably gonna kill you.
Isn't that the whole point of meth? Is that
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
only know from Breaking Bad. That's all I know. It seems like we're making a lot of money.
We could make meth right now out of like what's under your sink. We get some Clorox Pine Sol.
Let's do it.
These are all American-made products.
No, dude, you're missing the new thing. Is I want to do fake vaping cartridges. That's where all the money is now.
I had a thought, and I have no proof of this, that someone at Philip Morris has been lacing the vapor cartridges with poison.
Absolutely.
No,
I have no
they're
doubt
really
about
cutting into that market.
I have no doubt about that. You mean all the states that are banning e-cigarettes but keeping regular cigarettes legal? Mm-hmm. Like the ones that kill you? Like,
I'm glad you agree with me. I have no way to prove it, but I just know it's true.
Well, I don't know that they're actually poisoning. I think they're allowing the black market to work its own magic, but I think what they are doing is giving a lot of money to politicians who are now banning e-cigarettes.
Yeah.
Using that as an excuse to ban e-cigarettes. And then meanwhile, which is like, if you're a totalitarian about like smoking deaths, how would you not ban cigarettes? I don't understand like how the thing that kills like 1,000 times more people than anything else, how do you not ban that and then go after like the micro market of death?
Yeah. Which I imagine, even though no one's like overdosing on cigarettes as they are with the Juul, factoring in those deaths, I'm sure it's still safer than smoking cigarettes on a drawn out basis.
Yeah,
lifetime.
I mean, well, first of all, if you're buying, so I saw the guys in Wisconsin. They got busted. These guys were making like 3,000 fake vaping cartridges a day, with like mixed with all this shit, and they were selling their shit like in grocery store parking lots and stuff like that. In California, they can just sell them in unlicensed dispensaries. But in Wisconsin, where it's illegal, weed's illegal, they sell them like in fucking grocery store parking lots to people off Craigslist and stuff. Like, if you're buying any product in a parking lot, there's a good chance you're going to die. It doesn't even need to be a drug. I mean, it could be anything. You're going to die.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, you could just sell merchandise on Craigslist and meet people to buy your stereo, and they're going to kill you. More people die that way.
I mean, would you eat something? Would you eat a burrito that you bought in a parking lot?
No.
So why would you put it up your fucking nose?
No. And by the way, I like to point this out still, since I'm very pro weed, is that more people have still died from eating Chipotle than have died from vaping. So, and nobody outlawed burritos, dude. No one said like we gotta get rid of fucking burritos. They didn't even outlaw Chipotle. They just said, okay, here's a fine of like $100,000 and keep making your shit.
See, I only knew a few things when I moved from Alaska to Seattle, and then I learned some more things from Seattle to LA, even though it was quite well traveled in the States. Jack in the Box, I assumed after they killed a bunch of kids, that they went out of business.
Oh, with the E. coli.
Yeah.
No.
Because that was like a big news story.
Yes.
So I only knew Jack in the Box. I thought it was like there were 3 locations or something.
Right.
So I'm like, why would people still go here? There's still Jack in the Box?
Yeah, right. After like 17 people died from E. coli.
Haven't been to this day. And Ralph's, the grocery store chain of Kroger, I thought, because in the Northwest, it's called Safeway, same company. I don't know why it has 2 different names. Probably to make
they've
it
all bought each other.
not
Well,
seem
they've
like
all
a
bought
monopoly.
yeah, probably.
But I thought Ralph's, because The Big Lebowski is like my favorite movie, and I thought that was like a kitschy joke that the grocery store had such an unattractive name.
Right.
And I was like, oh, Ralph's is actually a real thing.
Yes.
I did not know that.
I love Ralph.
Anyway, I got nothing to promote.
All right, nothing to sell yourself on. Nothing going on this week. Check out MattRalston.net for more sexual fetish shit.
I got some shit going on. I don't want to jinx it, but you can
it's
look
illegal shit. I know you already talked about fucking it's Greta Thunberg, man. I don't know how far.
There's a couple cows I got, kind of bought them on the black market. Anyway, yeah, MattRalston.net. I got nothing.
All right,
go to Twitter at Matthew Ralston. I don't have enough Twitter.
I thought you were anti-Twitter. Weren't you anti-Twitter?
I don't use it. I think a lot of the chicks that I'm banging kind of like somehow find out my last name. I try and not tell them, and then they look at the Twitter. So anyway, I just want to have more followers.
I'm currently suspended on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So by the way, I don't understand like how you can't
you called someone an Uncle Tom.
Yeah, but listen. Well, I didn't call him. I used the term Uncle Tom. But how do they know? Here's what I understand. It's all AI, right? It's all computer generated shit like that. I think someone complains, it starts a chain. But how do they know if you're using like the term racist or Uncle Tom? How do they know if you're like a black active like fucking Cornell, whatever his name is, from fucking Harvard, and you're using it in the terms of like some sort of critical comment versus like some jackass like me using the same term? How do they actually get the context of you're using these terms that could be racist but could also be used for
They don't. I think they get it wrong like most of the time.
Yeah, but I also think they don't like fucking Cornell West. I don't think they're fucking taking his Twitter account away when he does it, or like a prominent like person in on the right side of the issue is not just a fucking dumbass comedian.
Right.
I think they must know the account type, and then they suspend you.
Twitter's actually, remember your idea of having like an anything goes Twitter and like a PG Twitter?
Yeah.
I think Twitter's actually considering doing that.
Really?
Based on your suggestion.
Where you sign a waiver and say you can't be offended by anything?
Yeah, it's
It'll
just
be
like
a
if you want to be a bitch, just go on fucking bitch Twitter.
Yeah, but it's gonna be non-bitch Twitter. It's gonna be fucking just racist shit left and right. So
I'm
it
sure
won't
it
be
would
fun.
be, but it's
just
your
fucking
choice.
It's just me fucking 4chan. All right, this is Lex. Last Man on Earth. Talk to you next week.
We're on a planet that has a problem. We've got to solve it, get involved and do